Ultramarines are not merely one chapter among many. They are the archetype of the Space Marine ideal, the blueprint from which much of Imperial military doctrine and symbolism derives. To understand them is to understand how the Imperium imagines itself, disciplined, ordered, and enduring in the face of an uncaring galaxy. Their origins trace back to the Great Crusade, when the Emperor of Mankind created the Primarchs and their legions to reclaim the stars. Among these legions, the 13 Legion, later named the Ultramarines, distinguished itself through operational efficiency and strategic adaptability. They were not the most savage warriors, nor the most esoteric, nor the most flamboyant. They were practical, methodical, reliable. This reliability became their defining characteristic. When the Horus Heresy fractured the legions and reshaped the Imperium, the Ultramarines emerged as one of the pillars of the new order. The Codex Astartes, a comprehensive military and organizational doctrine attributed to Roboute Guilliman, became their guiding text. It prescribed the division of Space Marine forces into smaller chapters, each capable of independent operation. This reform prevented the concentration of military power that had contributed to the heresy's devastation. The Ultramarines embraced the Codex with zeal. Where other chapters clung to older traditions, the Ultramarines became exemplars of the Codex's principles. Their structure emphasized discipline and flexibility. Tactical companies could operate as combined arms forces, integrating infantry, armor, and aerospace assets with precision. Command hierarchies were clear, operational objectives were defined, results were expected. This organizational philosophy shaped their identity. Ultramarines are often portrayed as the quintessential Space Marines, blue-armored warriors who embody the ideals of duty and order. They are not defined by emotional excess or individual heroism, though such moments occur. Instead, they represent the collective strength of a unified force. A single Ultramarine is formidable. A company of Ultramarines is devastating. A chapter operating in accordance with Codex principles is an instrument of overwhelming strategic capability. Critics within the lore sometimes characterize this approach as rigid. The Ultramarines' adherence to doctrine can appear inflexible in a universe that rewards improvisation and brutality. Opponents argue that the Codex Astartes reduces Space Marines to components of a bureaucratic machine, stripping away the individuality that once defined the legions. These critiques reflect broader tensions within the setting. Tradition versus adaptation, individuality versus collective purpose. Supporters counter that structure is strength. The Imperium spans 1,000,000 worlds and faces threats from xenospecies, chaos incursions, and internal decay. In such an environment, disorganization is fatal. The Codex provides a framework for survival. Ultramarines exemplify its effectiveness. Their campaigns across the galaxy demonstrate that disciplined coordination can achieve results where chaos and impulse fail. Historically, the Ultramarines' home domain of Ultramar further reinforces this narrative. Ultramar is a region of relative prosperity within the Imperium, a rarity in a galaxy defined by scarcity. Its worlds are governed with efficiency, infrastructure is maintained, civil order is prioritized. This stands in contrast to the more oppressive or dysfunctional regions of the Imperium. Ultramar's success is often attributed to Ultramarine oversight and the application of Codex-inspired governance. This portrayal invites philosophical questions. Is order inherently virtuous? Does stability justify the compromises required to maintain it? In a universe where survival often demands harsh measures, the Ultramarines represent the belief that civilization can endure without surrendering all principles. They fight not only to destroy threats, but to preserve the possibility of something better. This idealism coexists with the grim realities of the setting. Ultramarines are warriors. They commit acts of violence on a scale incomprehensible to ordinary humans. Cities fall, populations are displaced, worlds are cleansed of contamination. The Imperium's survival is purchased with blood. The Ultramarines participate in that cost. The lore does not present them as flawless heroes. They are instruments of the Imperium's will. Like all Space Marines, they operate within a system that prioritizes survival over compassion. Yet their adherence to structure and principle distinguishes them from more nihilistic factions. They seek to impose order upon chaos, however imperfectly. This duality is central to their narrative appeal. Ultramarines embody the tension between aspiration and reality. They represent humanity's capacity for organization and purpose, even in a hostile universe. At the same time, they confront the limitations of that capacity. No amount of discipline can eliminate suffering entirely. No doctrine guarantees victory. Their symbolism extends beyond military function. Within the wider mythos, the Ultramarines often serve as protagonists or focal points for exploration of Imperial values. Stories featuring them examine questions of leadership, duty, and sacrifice. Individual Ultramarines may struggle with doubt or moral complexity, but their collective identity remains anchored in service. This makes them accessible entry points for new audiences. The Ultramarines' visual and thematic clarity, blue armor, disciplined tactics, and codex adherence provides a recognizable foundation. Readers and players unfamiliar with the setting can understand their role. They are the Imperium's soldiers, defending humanity against existential threats. For experienced audiences, deeper layers emerge. The Ultramarines' relationship with the broader Imperium raises questions about governance and responsibility. Ultramar's relative prosperity contrasts with the suffering of other regions. Is this disparity justified by necessity? Could the principles of Ultramar be expanded, or are they limited by the Imperium's scale and constraints? The lore does not provide definitive answers. It invites exploration. This openness is a strength of the setting. The Ultramarines are not monolithic symbols of perfection. They are characters within a vast narrative, shaped by history and circumstance. Their actions have consequences. Their victories are meaningful. Their failures are instructive. Over time, the Ultramarines have also evolved. Modern narratives explore individual perspectives within the chapter. Characters grapple with the burdens of leadership and the weight of tradition. The return of Primarch-level figures, including Roboute Guilliman, introduces new dynamics. How does a chapter adapt when its progenitor returns? How do ancient doctrines interact with contemporary realities? These developments enrich the lore. They demonstrate that even institutions as venerable as the Ultramarines are not static. The Imperium itself changes, albeit slowly and often painfully. The Ultramarines reflect that change while maintaining continuity with their origins. In summary, the Ultramarines are a founding chapter of Space Marines, exponents of the Codex Astartes, symbols of discipline and order, defenders of Ultramar and the Imperium, participants in the Imperium's moral and strategic complexities. They are neither flawless paragons nor cynical instruments. They occupy a space between ideals and reality. This complexity defines their significance. To understand the Ultramarines is to understand the setting's broader themes: survival, sacrifice, and the perpetual struggle to impose meaning on chaos. In the grim darkness of the far future, they endure, and through their endurance, the Imperium continues.